Nigeria, by extension, Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement lives a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Good evening to you out there, and welcome to another episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name is Chioma Kalu, and tonight we turn the spotlight on a disturbing reality that keeps reoccurring across our communities, and that's the issue of jungle justice. Now, an angry mob in Abaro community, Ugeli North in Delta State, set a woman ablaze. She was accused of attempting to steal a 7-year-old boy. Despite some residents begging the mob to hand her over to the police, reason was drowned out by rage, and they dragged her out, beat her, and then burned her. This happened days after we saw protests in Ugeli over rising fears of child kidnappings. Homes are shut, children, kept indoors, and in that climate of fear, jungle justice seemed to be rising. Now, this is not an isolated incident. From Lagos to Abuja, Port Harcourt to Kano, stories of suspected thieves, kidnappers, or cultists being lynched are becoming more frequent. Many of these victims never make it to the courtroom. Some might be guilty, but others may be innocent. And once a mob strikes, the truth is lost forever. So you see, tonight we're asking, why does jungle justice persist in our society? Is it a symptom of failed justice systems? Is it a reaction to fear and insecurity? Or a dangerous culture we have to come to normalize? Remember, Ways is all about you, as you are the why in Ways. So be a part of the conversation today and every single day. Add your voice to the discussions. You can now head on to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and invite your friends to join in. When I open my phone lines, I would really want to hear your say on this particular topic. And as we do always, here is a quote for you to ponder on today. It says, "An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind." And this was said by Mahatma Gandhi. We're going to come back to this much later, like we always do. But for now, we're going to go on a short break. And when we come back, I'll take you through my news interests for the day. Don't go away. Welcome back, and you're still watching Ways. And right now, just before we go into our topic of discussion, let me take you through some news stories that caught my interest today. The first I have says NLC issues FG 14-day ultimatum as National Theatre staff work under tree. Now, the story says pardon me, Lagos State Council of Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government over the deplorable working conditions of the National Theatre workers, urging the government to immediately return the workers to the recently rehabilitated facility. In a letter addressed to the Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Dingyadi, the NLC Lagos Council Chairman Fumi Sesi lamented the deeply degrading and unacceptable working conditions by which members of staff of the National Theatre Lagos have been forced to operate for an extended period. She said that despite written letters without any reply to improve the working conditions of the workers and the renovation of the theatre that had been completed by the bankers committee, workers still work under trees. Now, Sesi threatened that members are prepared to deploy every lawful tool at their disposal, including full mobilization, protests, and industrial actions. She said the NLC demands a public and transparent resolution of the crisis and stands with the workers of the National Theatre in defending the future of the iconic edifice. I don't know the reason this is in the news. I mean, look at the structure of the National Theatre. It was rehabilitated. And that is really an edifice. It's a beautiful place. So make it make sense how the workers are still working under the tree. Oh, my God. This is 2025. This is 2020. This is not a funny situation. This is 2025. How are we still having this sort of conversations? If I remember correctly, this theater was completed, a couple of months back. So how is it that the workers are still working in such deplorable conditions? This is not something to be heard of. It's very absurd, right? And I'm glad NLC, is standing up to this. But like I would always say, NLC now, these days, I don't know which of your comments or statements that I will have to hold through, because sometimes you just say these things and we don't hear about it anymore. I really do hope that you will stand your ground on this particular, because it doesn't make sense. What do you mean working under trees? Have you seen the National Theatre? It is beautiful. It's been completed. So why are the workers still, I can't even say it confidently because it's very disgraceful. Very, very disgraceful. I don't know. But I want to assume that, okay, maybe the government don't know this is happening. But please, now that it has been brought to your notice, let's do something about it. It doesn't make sense we're talking about this. It does not. Anyway, my second news story of interest says CBN blames poor handling for rising cost of replacing mutilated currency. You need to see how people handle money these days. So the story has it that poor handling of the Naira is responsible for the rising cost of printing the Nigerian currency, the Central Bank of Nigeria has said. The Deputy Governor Operations Directorate of the CBN, Bala Bello, stated this in Abuja during the flag-off of the nationwide sensitization on proper Naira note handling. Represented by the Director, Currency Operations and Branch Management Department of the Apex Bank, Dr. Sikiru Adetona, Bello submitted that Naira abuse causes frustration during transactions and weakens confidence in the currency. He added and said, if we do not act today, poor handling of our notes will continue to raise the cost of printing and replacing the currency, cause frustrations in everyday transactions, and weaken confidence in our national currency. Now, speaking on the theme of the sensitization exercise, Naira, Our Pride, Handle with Care, Bello hinted that the exercise kickstarts the process of strengthening the integrity of the Naira. He argued that the Naira is more than a means of payment. It represents Nigerians' national pride, their sovereignty, and their shared destiny as a people. I think I actually share this sentiment with the CBN because sometimes when you see people handle money, growing up, I saw my dad, arrange money very neatly in his purse. And I think somehow that stuck with me, right? I'm not perfect like my dad, but you need to see the way people squeeze the currency. It's The mutilation has gone from 0 to 100 these days, and it doesn't show national pride, really. It doesn't show that you value this currency as a people. So let's do better, Nigerians. Let's do better, because now CBN is telling us, oh, it costs a lot to actually even, produce these things all over again. Please. Let's help them. So yeah, Nigerians, let's do better. All right. And to my final story of interest, Tinubu tells Nigerians, you're suffering due to painful... Okay, let me slow down. Your suffering is due to painful economic surgery. Tinubu tells Nigerians. Anyway, the story says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has described the economic difficulties experienced by Nigerians in recent years as the pains of a painful surgery, assuring citizens that recovery and growth are now within reach. He made the remarks during the coronation of the 44th Olubadan of the Ibadan land, His Imperial Majesty Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, at Mapo Hall in Ibadan on Friday. Addressing a crowd that included governors, traditional rulers, legislators, and senior federal officials, Tinubu acknowledged the challenges caused by reforms implemented since he assumed office. He said, to many of you here present, today I am honored and I'm very proud to give you the cheering news that the economy has turned the corner. There is a bright light at the end of the tunnel. Your suffering is a pain of a painful surgery, but it is now returned to the moment of growth and prosperity that awaits us ahead. He commended Nigerians for their perseverance, patience, and endurance, emphasizing that the reforms were necessary to stabilize the economy and lay the foundations for sustainable development. I mean, you guys, you've heard your president. This is labor pains, all right? You're going to birth soon, so keep traveling. He said, yeah, the reforms are going to pay off, and be patient, be patient. There is light at the end of the tunnel. We've been hearing this for a very long time, but we're not going to lose hope. We're going to hold on, and hopefully these reforms pay off, because Nigerians are suffering, to be very honest. And yeah, we have been very patient. A lot of people, I don't know any country that have had it this worse and are still holding on. So Nigerians are great people, but just a little more time, the president has urged us. All right? That's all the story I have that caught my eye today. I'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll dive right into our topic. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. If you're just joining us tonight, we're talking about jungle justice. And, if this is the death of trust in Nigeria's justice system. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember, you can join the conversation by sending me an SMS or WhatsApp to 0818-038-4663. My phone lines are also open. You can call on 070-2500-7749 and on 0701-4242-420. Let's hear you and what you have to say. All right, so now we have seen the headlines and the harrowing images, all right? A woman in Delta State, like I said earlier, was accused of child theft. She was beaten and she was set ablaze by an angry mob. No investigation, no trial, just instant execution. This is what happens when fear collides with a broken justice system. Communities feel unprotected. Kidnappings are on the rise. And you see, the security agencies are seen as either being absent or even powerless. The result, people take law into their own hands and jungle justice becomes the order of the day. But where does this leave us as a society? What happens to the rule of law, to the presumption of the innocence? When suspicion alone is enough to end the life, that's outrageous. Anyway, so tonight we're going to dig into more questions, and joining me to unpack this disturbing trend is our guest Emmanuel Ekule, the executive director of Elixir Trust Foundation, who is also a security expert. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for staying with us this evening. Mr. Emmanuel, are you there?
Thank you for having me.
Okay, you might want to increase the volume a bit. I don't know. I can't hear you properly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the issue of jungle justice is not new to us as a nation, right? But now it's been sadly brought up again by this incident in Ughelli, Delta State, right? So first of all, I want to ask, in the case of this incident in Delta State, what factors do you think caused residents to bypass official law? What always triggers them to bypass this official law enforcement and take matters into their own hands?
So jungle justice on its own is gradually becoming a norm, and situations like this happen when society or people grow impatient with the formal judicial procedures. Maybe also situations where there's lack of trust in existing security agencies. Already we know that currently we have poor community police relationship, slow judicial processes. We are looking at maybe high rates of crime, and then we are not seeing security agencies being proactive in addressing these crimes. You may also be looking at lack of erosion of civic values and all that, where people don't trust the police enough. And some cultures already have it maybe on their own, that cases where people steal, since civic laws are not being implemented to actually serve the people. Maybe their culture is, if you get you stealing, maybe it's to kill you, or they find ways around it, where you can see a situation that happened some years back in Sokoto, where Deborah was killed by some fanatics that he spoke about the religion on WhatsApp group.
Yes.
And then even Deborah Fattah wrote that just also being kept in correctional center for 18 months for asking what the government was doing about it. So when you are looking at these scenarios where the government is failing to do their role, and even when you complain to just make them proactive, they see it that you are. And when you are even take these cases to court and it's taking a very long duration, to some extent, you don't even know where it's heading. And some of these persons, you may even find out that they end up not even being in correctional center. So when these issues keep happening, people lose trust. And then they start plotting for other means through which to address these crimes, or at least make their environment healthy, or at least to ensure the protection of their own rights and property in their particular case.
I mean, this is really sad. It's really sad that we have to deal with this, right? But then I'm thinking, okay, do you think underfunding and, poor coordination are to blame for these weak responses to both the kidnappings and mob justice? What exactly, makes the response of the security outfits, weak in this regard?
The first thing is the political will.
Okay.
When you have a government that actually is actually coming to serve the people. Unfortunately, Nigeria have not been fortunate with leaders, the right leaders. Most of the persons who have occupying positions, be it at the local level up to the federal level, there are people that are coming there to get their own share of the national cake. From the president to the governor, local government chairman, they are not really there to serve us. That is why policies they make, they are actually anti-people, and we have laws that protect us. But implementation is also another thing, and this only happens when you lack leaders. But when you have leaders that actually wants to ensure protection of lives and property, which is the primary aim of any government, then you see the police being proactive in implementing these laws, because these police officers or these different commands at different levels, or even security agencies in general, they have vehicles that they work with. They are also being supported at different levels. Be it outside the budgetary allocation being given, you also have something like the police trust fund. If it's not functioning or it's not supporting them enough as expected, they on their own should also learn to speak out. These things, we have said it at different levels. And some communities have also tried to work directly with the police at that level, or policing agencies, be it vigilante, at that local level to ensure that they are being proactive. But in a situation where they have refused to actually respond to the cries of the people, it means they are not interested. Let's not forget, at times of protest, you always see police coming out with all manner of vehicles. They normally have fuel at those times, normally have even helicopters. Recently happened in Benue, where some people came out to protest about the killings, killings of about 200 persons in Yeliwata. Helicopter came out, and even some persons were shot to even protest that they were being killed. You know, that's the level. So when you look at that and you don't see the state government or the federal government actually coming out to ensure that culprits are being punished for the crimes they commit, then you start seeing citizens losing trust in the government. They lose trust because the police are supposed to protect them. But then when they have become predators and instead killing them, why should you feel safe working with them? So these issues, so the lack of political will, be it from the government, be it from policing agency, you are also looking at other, in short, even the community themselves also not feeling that they have a role in ensuring accountability. Same failed leaders, we are also campaigning for them. When you keep seeing that thing reoccurring, then it means even we, the people, are not ready. Yeah.
Anyway,
so this has been some of the issues that have lingered over time.
Yeah.
The laws are at least there to actually safeguard us to some particular extent.
Okay. Like I said, I'm going to come to the role of the people, right? But I'm just thinking back, and I remembered a couple of weeks ago, I had a military spokesperson on the show once, and you know, I was asking him how it's possible that we still have bandits, you know, go to ravage a community, and we have to wait until they have perpetrated the crime that they want to before you see the military guys moving and all. And he said, oh, it's a guerrilla warfare. We don't know those who are fighting. And, you know, it's with every step they take that we know, you know, we go and study it and know what's... He was just saying a couple of things. But now that got me thinking, and I'm thinking, so does it mean we're at the mercy of these people that, you know, commit these crimes, the bandits, the kidnappers, you know, the robbers? Do we have to wait until they commit the crime before we swing into action? Also, does it mean we lack the equipment, right, the intelligence, the logistics to actually preempt these kidnappers before they strike? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, for me, I've always said it's not that we lack the capacity. One, it's not that we lack the equipment. It's because we are not, or should I not? I will not say we, because I've always been interested. I'll say the government of the day is not interested, just like the formal government. At the same time, security agencies, maybe some of them are not actually being appointed based on competence, or else they won't wait on certain directive, because if you are being made a service chief, you have duties, you have things you are supposed to do, even without any other authorization. There are things you should be doing. So if you are failing in carrying out this to ensure protection, then what is your relevance in the scheme of things and in ensuring that persons are being protected? So there are equipment. Even before this particular administration came on board, if you look at the handover reports of the former President Buhari, they already spoke from, they were already 38, that during their time, they supported security agencies with 38 aircraft and 36 was ordered. Outside that, they have also about 700 motorable equipment that were also supported. There are about 400 plus boats and all that being given, added to what was already existing. Let's not also forget that during Buratai's time, he was also saying that there's a facility that is producing some equipment also within the country, or assembling equipment within. And if you look at the budgetary allocations, also this last few years, it has always been in trillions. So
That's right.
what is this money being invested into? What is the capital that is being, these monies are being used for? And at the end of for what achievement? There's also no audit. So if these are being put together, you see why these persons have not been interested. Not that, as I said earlier, not that they are not, they don't have the capacity, they are just not interested. How come people, murderers are being just, somebody wakes up without any criteria and said, a terrorist is a repentant terrorist?
I was going to come there. I was going
How?
to come there
What is the
because...
criteria being used? You know, what is the criteria being used that you just wake up one day and say somebody's repentant? Meanwhile, people stealing biscuits are being lynched and murdered on the streets, but people carrying weapons, villages raping women, killing people, displacing people in millions. And then we are still going to negotiate. We are still going to negotiate. It speaks to the competence of anybody coming to lead us as a country. It speaks to the quality of policing the service chiefs. It speaks to the leadership of the IGP. It speaks to the leadership of all the security agencies. For me, I've always said, if you give certain persons opportunity to lead and they fail, there should be punishment for failure. We are rewarding failures. And this, if we want a country that works for you, we cannot keep doing this. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We want to get there, except we start giving the appropriate rewards, be it for failure or be it for competencies.
You know, like I said, I was going to come to the point where you said somebody wakes up and tells you that these terrorists are now repentant. Because I keep wondering, what's the criteria? What are we looking at? What justifies them? What makes them repentant? You know, because a lot of people are saying, oh, what's the point of seeking Nigeria's justice, using Nigeria's justice system, when at the end of the day, the perpetrators of these crimes, you wake up one day and hear they are repentant. Oh, they don't just stop at saying they are repentant now. They tell you they are repentant and they say, oh, now we're integrating them back into the society. And I think that's insanity. You can't do that, right? If you commit crimes, you should face it. And like you said, now, okay, I know there was a time I mentioned it. In this country, there's no equal punishments anymore. If you're someone from the high class, they are very diplomatic with the way they met out the punishment. But then if you're from the low class, I'm sorry for you, because you're going to face the full wrath of the law. Anyway, but aside that though, because we can't keep relying on these people, what role should traditional or community leaders play in preventing this mob justice? Because, like we said, it's becoming a menace.
So, for the community to also ensure the law works, they have a role. I think currently the community leaders interact a lot with the government of the day. I think there's Bureau of Chieftaincy or something like that. They work with community chiefs and all that. That means at some point in time, the communities or the chiefs that represent people have an interface with the government of the day at all levels in different states and all around the country. Sometimes even the president relates with these persons. They have to speak truth to the authority. This is what they have not been doing. They have really not been helping matters. I remember was it last year or two, some few years back, when 10,000 constables were being recruited. I discovered that those persons that were being recruited were actually being referred to by the chiefs at different communities from different states. So, and most of these persons that were given to this police, these 10,000 constables that the chiefs gave out to work with the police, most of them were not people with that were behaving well. They were like the stubborn ones in the community. So the police, they felt pushing to the community, they felt pushing them out to the police. The system will actually change them to a better person. In the Catholic Church, they say the rights and ordination of a person does not change him from a sinner to a saint. It requires purposeful people. If there are certain persons willing to occupy those positions and really work for the good of the people, and then you are getting people that by nature or they have been bad or they have chosen to live that corrupt life and bringing them to work in the police, it means indirectly the community has started corrupting the system already. So the community at this level now have to
Mr. Ikule,
looking for the goods, the best of the best from the communities. When they give letters, a part and parcel of the policing agencies with the government, they should learn to speak the truth to them. At the same time, they can also give press releases to the government that this and this committee also can also speak to particular king in such communities. I'm with you.
okay, great. I wanted to say your network is a bit shaky.
I'm with you.
So we're going to have to run on a quick break and then have that fixed, and then we'll come back to you. Don't go away.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about jungle justice. And we're asking, is this as a result of the death, of trust in the Nigerian justice system? And I have Emmanuel Ekule talking to me about this. And I want to find out if he's still there. Mr. Emmanuel, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay. So I'm guessing we fixed what the problem is. Okay, so let's come to state policing, all right? Because, it's conversations like this that brings up that dialogue of state policing. So do you think the rise of vigilante groups, all these, response teams that communities have set in place, do you think this is coming as a result of, you know, this state policing not being enforced yet? Do you think that's the reason we're seeing more of this? Because as the mob actions are happening, some states are trying to help themselves. So you're seeing a lot of vigilante groups and all. So do you think this is the reason?
I would say critically that it's not the reason.
Okay.
State policing may not really be the reason for addressing some of this concern.
Okay.
It may help. At the same time, you are looking at the capacity of the states to actually fund the state police at this time, because some of these states, let's not forget, that have not even been able to pay salaries, despite the fact that they get this allocation, that they have the capacity to pay, but they have actually not even been paying. Some have gone further to even borrow. And the federal government is borrowing each day. So the first thing we should be looking at is why public offices is one, the quality of persons we send into policing agencies two. Those things are very, very important, that critical at this particular time in our history. Just pushing the police. Let's not forget that the current security agencies we have a lot of rotten eggs inherently embedded in this particular policing agencies. We need to uproot them. We need to use them as scapegoats or purge the system of all the corrupt officers or all these unprofessional officers. Within the system first, before we go further. At the same time, can also state governments start up.
All right, I think we lost Emmanuel for a bit. But then, yeah, he was talking about state policing, and he says, oh, that might not just be it, right? And I think I agree with him, because in the police sector, there's a lot, there's a lot of bad eggs in there. I think just a couple of days ago, I saw a video, and this lady was ranting on how, about how a young boy, you know, was apprehended by the police. I don't know what they now said he did. And at the end of the day, he paid the police over 100,000 naira. And she was so mad when she got a wind of it. And she went straight to the police station, you know, asking questions. What was that money for? Why do we still have that, you know? And they kept sending her from one place to another. It got to the CP and all that and all that. I don't think those policemen were dismissed. Because in a sane society, that's what should happen. You don't, that's bribe. Okay, first of all, you falsify some claims and put it on the man's head and say, oh, that's what he did. And then you still extorted money from him. And because of the society we are in, you might want to say, oh, this guy doesn't know his right. But no, Nigerians do know their rights. But with the way, you know, you can be ambushed. Yes. You can be. So more people are like, okay, let me just pay and get myself out of this mess. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. So it's one thing to clamor for state policing. It's another thing for us to have, you know, an overhaul of the entire police force. Because, yeah, there are lots and lots of bad eggs. You need to. Now, this is to the government, people at the helm of affairs. I urge you to get in a cab, random taxi, and drive in Lagos at night and see how much. I think I was going home 2 days ago, and the way this police guy stopped the cab I was in and was demanding money. And I'm wondering, money for what? What is this money for? And the way they ask for the money like it's their right. So you see, because Nigerians already know that, I mean, this is going to happen. So instead of getting their papers ready, instead of, you know, fixing their cars, you know, all of these security things and things you just have to have while you drive, license and all, they don't bother doing that anymore. Why? Because there is a policeman on the road who would rather collect money than check those documents. And that is the state Nigeria has been reduced to. Like I said, get in a bus, get in a cab, taxi, drive along the road and see what happens. They don't even check vehicles anymore for maybe carrying things or, you know, how people check the trunk of your car and all of that. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. So it's easy to see the level of distrust Nigerians have in this justice system, because even the policeman you're bringing, at the end of the day, they're very gullible. Sorry to use the word, but now the person that committed the crime can easily just pay. You know, when they pay, police will let you go. We were just talking about repentant terrorists. I have never been able to understand the concept of that repentance. Yes, you can be repentant, but do your jail time. All right? Because you have killed people. You have rendered families childless, you know, fatherless, motherless. And some of these people, right, even after ransoms are paid, they still kill them. Okay, and then these are the people you collect, and you tell me they are repentant. Who gave you the right to call them repentant? How are you sure? What yardstick did you use to measure that? And then you don't just call them repentant, you integrate them back into the society to continue what they have been doing all the while. Nobody's going to tell you, oh, I was an ex-convict and I learned my lessons and, no. Of course they will act repentant. They were caught. So they would be sorry for being caught. They will never be sorry for doing what they are doing. But now, how do you decipher who is sorry for being caught and who, you know, all of that really, right? So security agencies have to work extra hard. I don't know how you're going to do it. But you see, all the security outfits in this country, there is work to do to rebuild the trust that citizens have. Okay, let's go to the forthcoming elections in 2027, right? Like we have seen over the years, the police are like puppets. Well, not all of them. I don't want to generalize, right? But a lot of them are like puppets in the hands of these politicians. So instead of you to see, you know, ensure there's law and order, you are now acting as a bodyguard. You are acting, doing the biddings of whatever politician. It's such a far cry from your job description. I understand I have Emmanuel Ikule back here. Mr. Emmanuel, are you here with us? Mr.
Yes,
Emmanuel?
I am.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for coming back. So I was going to ask you, right, aside this state policing thing, how do you think security agencies can rebuild this trust in citizens? Because, yes, there's been a lot of damage. How do we rebuild this trust enough that citizens will hand over suspects instead of resorting to mob actions?
So the first one is the security agencies cleaning up themselves, purging themselves of misconduct, because they are working with people and people are actually watching what they do. So if they start purging themselves of this misconduct or bad behaviors, the community will start trusting them that, yes, the remaining persons that are still in the system will actually work for them. At the same time, if they also start being responsive when people reach out to them to come and apprehend suspects in the community or in the society, and they actually do that without taking advantage of money to extort people and all that to a particular level, people will start trusting the process. We are also looking at a system where for the military, they have become like judges. because their work is to apprehend criminals and take them to the court, and let the court decide whether these persons are repentant or not.
Yeah.
If they on their own, we are not seeing them as even repentant officers. Talk more of them having the competence to even proscribe or give court, they have become courts and then claim people are repentant, at the same time give them the repentant treatment. Meanwhile, people in correctional centers that committed less crimes are there. And most people now in correctional centers are gradually even becoming graduates, going through school, open university and all that. Even this type of persons, the government is not really giving them attention or giving them jobs when they are through. But they have paid attention to criminals in the society that are still roaming around with AK-47s, with sophisticated weapons, and then you claim they are repentant. The same people, you just automatically put them back in the society. It means there's something the government is not coming out to actually say. Why are these persons not punished? Why are they not allowed to face the wrath of the law? Is it that the current crop of military personnel are not competent enough to actually address this concern? If the leadership to do this work and give them ultimatum, we are giving you 6 months to trash out this issue of terrorists, we are giving you 1 year, we are giving you this time. If you fail to do it, you even be punished. And then the monies being given or accrued to you will also be audited. When was the last time military budgets have been audited? How can you be spending trillions without accountability? And then our judicial system also needs reformation. Certain persons should be, before you are being appointed to handle cases, there should be some level of competence, and also there should be audit of all the criminal justice system, be it the police, be it the judges, be it the correctional system, system, so that certain persons that have been found wanting over time can also be brought to book. Then citizens on their side also need to also enlighten themselves. There are a lot of laws that speaks to these crimes, because jungle justice on its own is a crime. We have Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. We have of 2015. We have Administration of Criminal Justice Law and Act that speaks to the processes for prosecution and judgment. It's also, we have Anti-Torture Act of 2017 that prohibits all forms of torture. We have the Nigerian 1999 Constitution, Section 33, that also speaks to right to life. 34 speaks to dignity of human life and all that. There are a lot of laws, even the criminal code and all that. It criminalizes homicide, murder, mob killings and all that. So our laws speak to this, and it's expected that even when these situations happen, policing agencies are supposed to arrest those responsible for jungle justice and bring them to book. But at the same time, while you are doing handling, that's the secondary aspect, you're also looking at the root of this, why people are going to this. So there will also be need for the police to purchase this system. It's also calling on the CRU, as the Police Complaint Response Unit, to also activate, punishing their colleagues that are failed or they are failing in carrying out their law, carrying or implementing this law as should be. Also calling on the Police Service Commission to also play their role of oversight over the police as well as policing agencies. At the same time, the military, also the court martial and all that, the provost marshal and all that, to also play their own roles. Accountability units in all these different policing agencies to play their role of purging the system up. And then they on their own should also learn to work with people. When you are being given the mandate of duty of protecting lives and property, you shouldn't look at them as inferior to you. You hear many times the military calling people bloody civilians and all that, giving people frog jump on the roads and all that. You don't have such rights. Civilized countries, you don't see that. But we have refused to be civilized. We have refused to actually obey. So military and police or policing agencies, a creation of law, not even understanding the law, talk more of implementing what has already been agreed upon. So these are some of the inadequacies inherent in the system and Nigerian system that is actually causing these issues, and people getting so tired because they believe that trained professionals should be able to behave as professionals. But when you see that they are failing and you are not seeing any solution in sight, people resort to actually being the solution themselves and giving rights to jungle justice, which shouldn't be, and jungle justice itself being a crime. So gradually, society is becoming a hub of criminals. So even people that are not even criminals are still committing crimes.
But then,
So that's where we have found ourselves.
yeah, just before we let you go, I know you are very, you're really into this security conversation. You're at the forefront, right? So I want to ask, over the years, right, what has it been, the response of the people, in sensitization, the education, on how to allow the law take its course and stepping back? How have people received it? So 2 years ago compared to now, is it getting better or is it getting worse?
It's both sides.
Okay.
Before 2020 NSAS, a lot of persons, even people that were being affected by police professional misconduct, a lot of persons were not ready to come out and speak their truth. But from NSAS, a lot of persons have gotten the confidence to actually speak truth to authority and tell their truth about what they are facing from the security agencies and from the government. So people have been more bold now in speaking what they have been going through and what they have been facing. But at the same time, the government on its own is only playing lip service. It has not actually tried to fix these issues that people have been complaining about. So it's more like the citizens are now more enlightened to speak, but the governments and policing agencies are yet not ready to actually do something about in fixing these issues being raised. We, on our own, currently in Benue, we are pushing towards activation or operationalization of the complaint response units because the Benue is gradually becoming a hub where security agencies do whatever they want, and they are more like above the law. So to ensure that they are actually operational, people know that they exist, and also the police command also ensure the operationalization of such units, as well as sensitizing people about what the role they play in actually ensuring that policing misconduct are actually being addressed at all levels, and it's being captured in the Police Act. Section 130 to 133, thereabout, speaks to the duties. Some states have started, like Lagos, Benue, we did training for them, and we're hoping that subsequently there are more engagements and these persons actually activate. But as we speak, people want to talk, but sometimes if you talk, you are also being even punished for even talking, just like we spoke about the protest.
All right, Mr.
And
Ikule.
still, on the first, people may still be coming out to protest and talk about the ills inherent to the system. We hope that the government will listen and then do what is needed instead of still criminalizing these voices.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Ikule. That's all the time we have, unfortunately. But thank you for your insights, and we hope to do this again. All right, have a good evening. So you see, jungle justice may feel like instant relief, when fear stalks the streets. It promises swift action, retribution, satisfaction even. But you see, at what cost? That's the question. At what cost? When mobs replace courts, when emotions override the rules, when we risk becoming a society where violence is normalized, justice can't be satisfied by touching someone in public. It must be measured, accountable, fair even. We have to race against fear, really. All right? If we want peace, we must insist on law. If we want justice, we must demand process, because otherwise jungle justice once it grows, scars everyone. The offender, the victim, the community, and even your conscience as a person. So let's find a balance. Let's make peace with the fact that we have to step away from that and allow the law to take its full course. That's all we have for you tonight. Thank you so much. Before I let you go, of course, you would subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further. Drop a comment. Follow us on all social media platforms. Remember to like, share, and invite your friends and family. And before I go, if you missed the quote earlier, it says, An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. And that was said by Mahatma Gandhi. My name is Chioma Kalu, and this has been Ways Prime Time. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.